back in the Midwest, right when all the humidity hit, because that's a great feeling, being out in the Southwest where everything was in the 90s and almost hundreds with no humidity. And it's fine. But now it's like 65 degrees, 90% humidity, and I feel sticky and gross. It's still early in the spring, so my favorite wildflowers growing up are still changing colors. I don't remember what they're called. They're currently white, but they turn a pinkish purple later on. I miss living in the woods. So much so that I gathered a few samples of moss to throw in my windowsill, and I spray it whenever the humidity is not very high. So I just have moss growing in my windowsill. And when all the bugs get caught in between the screen and the window, their corpses fertilize it. So, my family owns 10 acres of woods, and growing up here has really shaped my love for nature, realizing that not all forests or woods are the same. Moving away just to live in the city for like 3 years doesn't seem very long, but when coming back into the area, it's just something nostalgic about smelling livestock and soil versus hot asphalt and road oil that just settles. Like people that just move to the city, it's kind of its smell, they enjoy it, and they get into the city life and neon lights and crowded places. I grew to respect that aspect of it, but it's not for me. Something about being a certain level of solitude hits differently. On my trip, I was stranded for about a week and a half in Palm Springs, and I became friends with a mound of ants. Sounds weird, but I was going through a transition of mental thought, as all trips make you go through. And I just watched this mound start out really small, and throughout the week and a half there, grew. In the last couple of days that I was there, I'd see just right below my feet where I was crouching, ants. And I was so focused, or maybe the lack of focus, in a state of calm, I noticed them surrounding my area. And then I noticed 10, 15 feet off, little dots in the sand moving around. And along with that anthill, I had 2 ravens that were pretty common nuisance. Different idea that even when you're alone, you're not really alone. When I was out there, I was in a very contemplative mood, and I journaled a lot. I started journaling when I was in the city to get past the idea that things were way different than I expected them to be. And I didn't even think I'd finish my first journal because I'm such a perfectionist. But actually, I'm halfway through my second journal, and for every day that I was on the road, I wrote about 2 pages, average. People often don't think that journaling is for them, but honestly, there's so many different ways to journal. You just need to find a way that interests you, and everyone's different. You're going to be making mistakes along the way. You just have to get past that. You have to tell yourself it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect all the time, which I'm a perfectionist, so it's kind of a hard habit for me to get into. What I usually use for my journals are moleskin. It's not leathery, so it's not fancy, but it's also not paper, so it's not cheap either. But it has kind of that aesthetic feel to it, which most of my journals are like this. I have some journals that aren't. I also have an assortment of these Uniball pens because I like how they write, and I usually have them in bulk just in case one dies I can continue right on. Since this is volume 2, I have the volume 1 with the dates that concludes to, and then on volume 2 I'll have it when I'll end this book. And starting in volume 3 I'll have the same thing on it. And I always put a set of rules in the beginning of it to make sure I'm not ruining it with perfection. And then I just log about my day. And that's why I call this my log journal. I am a collector of journals. And then this is my green journal of goals. Every once in a while I'll add to it. It's mostly just for review because most of these goals I've set for years ago. I have a hard time of trying to do it in my own pace rather than everyone else's pace. Definitions of what SMART goals are. And then I have the index. In the index I have it symbolized codes with page numbers and checkoff marks. That's also why my channel is called Nick's Green Book, because I'd like to document all the goals I complete to remind me that I do complete things. Because I'm so very fickle in remembering the things that I've accomplished in life when life brings me down, that if I just remember, then I probably wouldn't be so sad. And if any of you are perfectionists out there like me, I go through notebooks like no other. I'll get one because it's so nice, bring it home and be like, this is too nice, I can't use it. And then I end up wasting it. And that's another reason why I always try to remind myself things don't need to be perfect. And it doesn't hurt to put stickers on things sometimes either. I've always wanted to experience things with people and go places with people, because like Chris McCandless said in his final journal entry from Into the Wild, things are always better to experience with other people. And I resonate with that. But the funny thing is that on my trip, I met people and experienced with people, so I was never actually alone. It's interesting because I did get to experience stuff with people, just not in the same way that I've always wanted to. And I've made some pretty good friends and acquaintances. I'm usually a reclusive that doesn't make friends or communicate with people I don't know, and I'm glad that changed. A few of these friends I met that were hiking the PCT. I've always wanted to do a through hike of the Appalachian Trail, which if you're interested, check out my friend Twiggy's channel, Twiggy Hikes, where she's hiking the PCT. She's probably at mile 500 right now, and everything is beautiful out there. She has way better video footage than I do. I'll have her channel in the description. I would like to thank my friends and family and ex-coworkers on them supporting me on my road trip and self-discovery journey, and also everyone that I've met along the way. You're all awesome people, and hopefully I do get to see some of you guys, if not all of you guys, again.